It is being rumoured that the actor Adam Driver could be cast as James Gunn's Lex Luthor in the new DC universe, launching in James Gunn's written and directed brand new Superman movie that he's developing at the moment, Superman Legacy. Please let me know what you think about this rumour that Adam Driver could be cast as our brand new Lex Luthor in DC Universe. Now, my opinion is pretty simple. It would be fucking amazing. I mean, there should be no complaints about this. Adam was, of course, one of the few things that was outstanding in the Star Wars Disney sequel trilogy. He was great as Kylo. I thought he was fantastic. He worked really well. Adam has done a multitude of independent movies. His performances are outstanding, and he would maybe even be the best Lex Luthor ever. Now, of course, for me, that's Rosenbaum from Smallville, Michael Rosenbaum, at this moment in time. And I think Adam Driver is one of the best actors of this generation. And this would make me utterly, utterly happy. So that's your only update today. We're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk about Jay Oliver as he reveals what Zack Snyder was planning for the DCEU and how he was going to end his franchise. I mean, listen, it's the anniversary of Jay Oliver's directed animated movie, Flashpoint, which is absolutely outstanding and leaps and bounds better than what we got in the live-action Flash movie, which literally is telling the same story, but in a less awesome way and in a more lame way. Also, let's just reference the fact that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been talking about his Black Adam movie, a movie I watch all the time, the movie that I love. It's been the only profitable movie in the DCEU since Shazam, the first Shazam. Think about that. There hasn't been one profitable movie in the DCEU since. Black Adam made just about nearly 400 million. Now, it was a big budget, around 200 million, which means that basically Black Adam doubled its profit margins. Now, I'm sure WB wanted more money because they're greedy capitalist pig bastards. I understand that, but this has been the most profitable, highest box office they've had in the DCEU. Let's not get this confused with the Joker and the Batman, who are outside the DCEU. Obviously, they made a lot more money than Black Adam, but Black Adam made a profit, and it's made more money than any DCEU movie, let me repeat for the pie eaters at the back, since Shazam, the first Shazam. So it really did earn the right to get a sequel and to have Henry Cavill's Superman be a part of that world. You could have even had that Black Adam universe be separate to James Gunn's DC universe. You could have kind of recycled it into a DC Elseworlds, part of the DC Elseworlds, which is going to be where everything else, which is not DC universe, is going to be. So it was easy to do. And think about this for a minute. If Black Adam wasn't banned in China, we could have been looking at 500 to 600 million. Because the Chinese and the Asian market are very interested and very supportive of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Unfortunately, a cast member said something dumb during the marketing, as they always do these days, because they can't keep that zipped. But it's a shame. Black Adam is a great DC movie. It's not Shakespeare, it's not The Dark Knight, but it's brilliant. I enjoyed it. We deserve more. The Rock put everything into that movie, and I'm hugely disappointed we won't be getting more, and at least Henry Cavill can't be Superman in that universe. He could have been Superman in that universe, and James Gunn could have created his brand new universe with a brand new Superman, brand new Batman. It would have been okay. You could have even kind of restored the Snyderverse via the Elseworld universe that is Black Adam in a way. You could have found a way around it. But oh no, they told us Cavill's coming back, then he wasn't coming back. What an absolute shit show. And what I'm going to talk about now is about more disappointment, as Variety have a very interesting article from artist J. Oliver, celebrating the 10-year anniversary, I think it's the 10-year anniversary of the Flashpoint Paradox, the animated movie. So hopefully my phone can hold up and we can actually scroll upwards and we'll read this article. I think it's a great article, that's why I want to read it. Ben Affleck's Axe Batman movie was fucking awesome and built on 80 years of mythos, says storyboard artist. It was the best. Listen, I know a lot about Ben Affleck's potential The Batman movie. Let me tell you something. I love Matt Reeves' The Batman, but this film would have shit all over Matt Reeves' The Batman. This movie was going to be special. Jeff Johns interfered, basically made Ben's life a living hell. Ben was a recovering alcoholic. He was advised by his good friend and mentor Matt Damon not to do it for his own health and mental health's sake, so he didn't. And Ben is no longer Batman. Because let me be clear about him in The Flash. That wasn't the best Batman we'd ever seen. I can't believe Ben told us that was the best of his Batman. It wasn't, it was shit. Yes, the stunt work that didn't involve Ben Affleck was great and awesome. But what Ben had to do himself wasn't awesome. It was crap, it was cringy, just like the two Wonder Woman cameo scenes we saw in Shazam, A Fury of the Gods, and the Flash movie. Shit, cringe, stupid MCU humour, trying to make the guys look stupid. It's fucking awful. And by the way, if that's the kind of Wonder Woman we're going to see in the developed by Gal Gadot and James Gunn and Peter Safran Wonder Woman 3 movie, no thank you, you can fucking keep that. Anyway, J. Oliver is a storyboard artist who worked on several DC and Warner Brothers movies, such as Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Wonder Woman. Recently opened up to Inverse about Ben Affleck's scrapped standalone Batman movie. Affleck debuted as Batman in Zack Snyder's Dawn of Justice and reprised the role in Justice League. He was developing his own Batman movie to direct and star in before deciding to exit the role. Well, Ben didn't actually decide on his own. Like Zack Snyder, he was driven out. Snyder, Affleck, J. Oliver were developing a beautiful, outstanding, groundbreaking DC live-action universe, and they weren't allowed to finish what they started. It was a disgrace. I can't really say too much other than it was fucking awesome. Oliver told Inverse about Affleck's Batman movie. It was the best. It was amazing from my understanding. There was a couple of drafts of it when I was brought on. I don't know whether it was the second draft or something, but it was what Jeff Johns and Ben Affleck had shown me. So Johns was working on this with Ben Affleck. So it looks like, I don't know if I'm right about Jeff Johns putting the pressure on. WB certainly were, and that's why Ben stepped away. But it looks like this is a piece of work that Jeff and Ben put together. So he's saying that maybe Jeff Johns and Ben Affleck's script was fucking awesome. So I take that back, what I said earlier, but someone pressured Ben into leaving this project. So it sounds like that Ben and Jeff did good work on this movie. I worked on a lot of Batman things, and what was really cool about it was it was tying together a lot of really cool Batman storylines that had never been really explored. Oliver continued, Ben's story was going to cover something that had never really been covered in comics, but was building off of the storylines in the Batman mythos over the last 80 years and approaching it from a new kind of perspective. Now, we know that Ben Affleck is a fantastic director. We've seen a couple of his directed movies. Nolan was desperate for him to direct Man of Steel. Actually, Snyder wasn't the first port of call for Christopher Nolan. It was actually Ben Affleck. It was only when Ben Affleck turned it down and, Chris said, well, he's really like me, Zack Snyder. He works with his wife. He's got a business relationship with his wife, a really intelligent woman. We can work well together, and that's what happened. But his first port of call was definitely Ben Affleck, and Ben just didn't feel he was ready to do a project that had to have so many it had to have like a lot of visual storytelling. Affleck said back in 2019 that he left the Batman movie because he just couldn't come up with a version for the story. I couldn't crack it, he added. He's lying, he could crack it, he was driven out. It was very clever, and there were a lot of things about it that I really loved, that I wish I'd had come to fruition. Oliver said about the project. It was a great project in the beginning. Ben had to step away for personal reasons, and I totally understood. But the time that I spent with Ben working on the project was fantastic. Maybe someday I can spill the beans, but I still can't talk about it. Now this is interesting. Why can't he talk about it if it's done and dusted? I don't know, is that, is it kind of still, he's under, obviously legally he can't talk about it, but that's weird. Of course, they don't want it spoken about because, people are going to go fucking mad when they realise what this film actually was. Most of us know what this film was, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. You do not know everything. Also attached to Affleck's version of the film was cinematographer Robert Richardson, who had previously worked on Affleck's Live by Night. In a 2019 interview on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, Richardson confirmed Affleck's Batman script was finished and not exactly beloved by everyone involved in the film's development, he said. Affleck's film would have showed the darker side of Batman. Well, Affleck was going more into the insanity aspects because we were really going to focus on Arkham as well, Richardson said. So I think you would have seen something a little darker than what we've seen in the past and more into the individual who was inside Batman. What element may be the same, what element may actually not be the same, and what element may actually be the same. So he was entering into a little bit more of the Arkham. As you know, he's going into where you keep everyone who was bad. Everyone had shifted, and Batman, and so that whole aspect was it was very fascinating to go to the darker side of Batman. To me, I suspect that this could have been kind of adapting the Arkham games as well, which I know Affleck is a fan of. Affleck's a huge Batman fan, as well as being a brilliant, critically acclaimed award and Oscar-winning director. When Affleck exited the Batman project, Matt Reeves stepped in to develop what would become his Robert Pattinson starring The Batman. Now, Jay Oliver has been also talking about how Zack planned to end the Snyderverse. Now, most of you know this anyway, but we may as well just go into it briefly. And he was going to do a Flashpoint movie, because that's what we've just had, a Flashpoint movie, a shitty, cringy, crappy Flashpoint movie. But Zack was going to do it all. We were going to see characters that had got on in the past not get on in the Flashpoint universe, literally taking the comics and actually putting them on the big screen, and literally by the end of the film, literally rebooting the whole of the DCEU, but in a great way, in a better way than they did in the Flash movie. Again, we lost out. We were betrayed, Zack Snyder was betrayed, but us, the fans, lost out on something incredibly special. And going back to Ben Affleck's The Batman movie, everybody knows what this film was going to be by now. We were even going to get a Batgirl. No, not Leslie Grace, a proper Batgirl. Who knows who they were going to cast in this movie? And it's just a big shame. They interfered with the Snyderverse. They got worried about the Snyderverse. They were nervous about the Snyderverse. And what's funny and amusing, even now, after they brought in, Johnson Berg to take over, then Hamada, they failed. Now James Gunn has to do exactly the same thing again and recycle the DCEU, because that's exactly what DC Universe is. And we will see if James Gunn is capable of doing that. But scrapping Ben Affleck's The Batman movie should be a crime against art. Like the Snyder Cut, I have in my imagination this amazing film, and I believe that Ben Affleck wouldn't have let us down. I know a lot more about this film, as I've already said, lots more. Like Jay Oliver, I can't really talk about it. But you know, if you're a Batman fan, you would have fucking loved this movie. I think this film comes just after Zack Snyder's Justice League, the original Zack Snyder's Justice League, of course. And I think that comes in a sandwich between the first Justice League and then after the Ben Affleck's The Batman movie, then we would have seen Justice League 2. And I think that would have been awesome. They should have allowed Snyder to finish his fucking arc, reboot the universe, and they could have brought in James Gunn, Jeff Johns, you know, Fred's uncle. Who cares who they brought in? This is what they do in the comics. You know, sometimes people don't like runs of comics, but they let the artists and the writers, you know, finish off what they're doing. You can't try and recycle somebody else's work. And we've catalogued what they did with Black Adam, how they lied about Henry Cavill coming back, or they changed their minds about Henry Cavill coming back, and it's an unadulterated mess. On Adam Driver playing Lex Luthor, something, as I say, that's something from this new so-called reboot I would approve of and be very, very excited about. We're not going to hear any announcements, I don't think. It looks like James Gunn's found his Jimmy Olsen. Never heard of the actor. Can't even remember his name. Of course, we'll discuss this when all this stuff is official. Don't forget that Adam Driver was also rumoured to play, is it Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four? Apparently he turned that down, so this could be bullshit as well. But it would be funny if he turned down the MCU and accepted Lex Luthor in the DCU. That would, you know, I think Marvel fans would be very, very upset about that. But with the SAG-AFTRA Actors Union industrial action right now, I don't expect any castings from anyone or anywhere to be announced. All you're going to be hearing are rumblings of rumours. Right now, these strikes are going to go on and on and on. There is no end in sight. It's sad, but these situations have to be solved. For everyone in the industry, the artificial intelligence one is very serious and frightening for me and everyone else in the industry. But people not getting their proper residuals from streaming is also disgusting. So I am happy to wait it out. I don't find it that frustrating. I think we all need a break from entertainment for now, so we can have a bit of a reset, so we can have a bit of a purge and come back with the right people working in this industry where they put entertainment and fine art as their priority. See you again soon.